Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel and another video. This video is going to be very different to what our content normally is. Normally we're happy, very positive people. Of course we've expressed a few negative views, but that's normal. But this video is very personal to me, and I have been extremely indecisive as to if I was going to film this. But if my tips and my experience can help one person feel a little less alone and a little bit better about what I'm going to talk about, then that's great. So I'm going to be talking about my experience with loss and the process of grief. So of course there might be a few upsetting subject matters in this video, so I just wanted to put that out there before I dived into the video properly. So I've hinted a lot on the channel about something that happened in October, and it was a loss. I've been grieving that loss, and it was a very important person in my life. So in October, I lost my dad in a very shocking way. It wasn't expected. One day he was at home, the next day he was in ICU, and then 5 days later they took him off life support. We weren't expecting that to happen, and it all just happened so quickly. It's taken a long time to kind of process what went on. He did go very peacefully, which I am very thankful for, as it could have been so much worse. But he wasn't in any pain. He was in an induced coma, and the close family were with him, so I was with him when they took him off life support. Then I got involved with helping my mum sort out all the funeral stuff for Dad, and we had a really nice service. I actually managed to speak at his funeral as well, something that I really wanted to do but I was nervous about. So yeah, the process of grief is different for everyone, and some people deal with it by throwing themselves straight back into work. Some people need time away, but they say it gets easier over time, and right now it's still pretty much the same. We're almost 5 months since we've lost him, and it still feels painful every day. Like, there's stuff that happens that I would love to tell him about, or there's stuff you see in the news or the TV, and you go to talk to that person about it and you can't. And that's really tough, especially for my mum, because her and Dad were both retired and they were at home together. When I'm at work now, she's on her own, so she's really struggling, but we're helping each other through as best we can. Grief, you just need to let it hit you when it hits you. People shouldn't be expecting you to be 100% happy all the time, and I'm really lucky that I've got such a good support network of Ewan. Obviously he's been absolutely amazing throughout the whole thing. Before Dad passed away, he came to see Dad with me when Dad was in an induced coma. He was obviously at Dad's funeral. I spoke to him a lot about the process of that, and he's just been amazing and so understanding. And then alongside that, he's got his own grief as well, because he knew my dad quite well, and we've been together about a year and a half when we lost my dad, so it wasn't like a 5-minute thing. And he's grieving dad in his own way as well, because in the mornings they used to talk about football together, and now that doesn't happen. But he's also been a godsend to my mum. Like, Ewan, I don't know if you're going to watch this, but if you do, you are just simply amazing, and this process would be even harder without you. Other support, I have amazing friends. I could name you all, but I'm sure you all know who you are. Without you, I definitely would have fallen down a rabbit hole a little bit more as well. And I have the most amazing family who is so supportive and so loving as well. But you know, if you need to cry, cry. I used to be really bad at opening up and showing my feelings to people, because I always wanted to be that strong person that could be there for other people. But I've now come to realise I can do that while also still dealing with my own feelings, instead of kind of hiding them away, closing the door on them, and not really reacting or showing my emotion to people who care about me. But of course, you still have those moments where someone will say, "How are you? Are you okay?" And that I think they know that you're not. But you just reply and go, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm all right," when really you're not. So I need to work on getting better at saying, "You know what? Now I've had a tough day," and I am getting better at that. But it comes in stages. Some days I can be absolutely fine. Other days I just feel sad. I'm really struggling with my sleep at the moment. I can hardly sleep. Like, I used to be able to sleep through the whole night. Now I wake up every few hours. I cry a lot at night. I think that's the worst when you're on your own and you just need to let it out. That's when I feel most comfortable doing it. But it is a process, and you do get there slowly. My tips for grief is, when you're ready to, try and get back to a sense of normality for yourself. So, because I was helping my mum out with the funeral, I was actually off work for quite a long time, but now I'm back in my daily routine of work. I find that really helps. I'm not just sat around thinking about things. Now theme parks are reopening. That's taking up a lot of my time, so I'm keeping myself busy and I'm keeping my mind occupied, which is definitely the best thing you can do. Even if it's just you're at home for circumstances like you're a mum on maternity, or you're retired, at any age, just do stuff to keep your mind occupied. Read a book, watch TV. If you do YouTube, film a YouTube video, go out for a walk, if you can. Invite family round, go and see family if you can. Just keep yourself and your mind as active as possible, so you're not left with just sitting around thinking about how things could have turned out or what could have been done differently, because then you're just going to make yourself feel worse. And I think a lot of people actually struggle with that. I know I do at times. Like, me and my dad were so similar. We used to not argue, but we'd have a lot of disagreements that probably turned into a bit more than they should have. And when I first lost him, I was like, oh my God, all that time spent being like that, when, we could have been absolutely fine. But you can't blame yourself for that, because you don't know what's going to happen. Like, we didn't know that was going to happen. We were going to lose him that quickly or that soon. Another thing with grief is coming to terms with, how different your life is going to be. Like, my dad is going to miss out on a lot of my life. Like, if I ever have kids, he's not going to be here for that. If I ever get married, he's not going to be able to walk me down the aisle. Like, and again, it's coming to terms with what your future looked like with them to now what your future will be like without them. And sometimes it's really hard to come to terms with, but equally you know that they always will be there because they're part of you. Like, he was my dad. He lives on through me, through the stories I can tell about him. And most importantly, he's always in my heart. And I need to remind myself that, you know, that's okay. Like, it doesn't take away from the fact that, you know, he's not there. It's not the same as him actually physically being here, but it's something, and that brings a little bit of calmness to me, a little bit of relief, a little bit of like, oh, okay, like it's just a sense of closure. Obviously, when we went to Chesington for the zoo day, that's a very special place for me and Dad. Growing up, that's where him and my mum took me on their first wedding anniversary when I was born, so like April 1998, and then we went every year since then without fail. I've never gone a year without going to Chesington. So going back there for the first time after he'd passed away, I was so excited to be going back to a place that meant so much to me, but equally I was nervous. Like, I didn't know how I was going to cope. And again, I had Ashley with me, who is absolutely amazing, so supportive. And I got a little bit of a lump in my throat, but I managed to kind of hold it in. And something I've rarely said when it comes to grief and how I'm feeling is that I'm proud of how I've handled it. And you know what? That was the first day I came home. I had a cry, but I was like, wow, I'm really proud of how well I handled today, because it could have gone so differently. And a part that sticks in my mind is just as I was having a wobble when we were at Chesington, a robin appeared and just looked directly at me. And I took that as a sign that Dad was with me, and that brought so much comfort, and I just instantly relaxed and pulled myself together. So going back to a place where you associate with a loved one you've lost is so difficult, but once you manage to get over that hurdle, it is the most rewarding feeling ever. And I just know he would have been so proud that I'm not letting it stop me live my life, because I know that's what he would want me to do as well. Anyway, I think that's it for now. If there's any other things that come to mind, I might do a little part 2 maybe in a few months' time to see how I'm doing further down the line. But if you know a friend who's going through something like this, just make sure you're there. You don't have to say anything, you don't have to like physically do anything, just maybe drop a message and say, you know, if you need me, you know where I am. And that person will appreciate that so much, because I know I have with my circumstances. But yeah, sorry that video was a little bit of a downer, but I just really wanted to open up and talk about it, because I think it could help a lot of people to know that, you know, everyone deals with grief their own way, but these are things you can do to help. But, you know, those things that work for me might not work for other people. So it's just an idea. And if that doesn't work for you, something will. But just take your time. Don't rush yourself into feeling like you have to get over it, because you really don't. It's a big event to happen. Losing anyone, like losing a father, losing a mum, losing a grandparent, losing a spouse, losing anyone is awful. And just take the time you need. Don't rush yourself. Just go at your pace, and then everything will work out. Anyway, back to the positive stuff. Thank you for watching this video. I do hope it has helped someone out there, or you've taken some inspiration from my experience. And yeah, just thanks for listening to me ramble on a bit, I guess. But the next video on the channel will be a lot more positive. It will be from Alton Towers opening day. I'm super excited to get back there and to film a vlog for you guys with Ewan. I will be back with my partner in crime, so I can't wait. But once again, thank you for all your support. Thank you for listening, and I will see you guys at Alton Towers.